Hello, friends, fans, gamers, and geeks. Welcome to another edition of Talk Nerdy to Me. Joining us today, we have one Samantha Ireland. Good morning, Sam.
Hi, how are you?
Doing well, doing well. So for those of our listeners today that don't know, you've done quite a bit of acting, both live action and voice acting. But you're probably most well known for, and I want to make sure I get this right, I believe the character is pronounced Nora! Is that correct?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
from
Nora,
the RWBY.
She's my girl. Yep. That's like, if anybody asks like what I do, like that's always my go-to character. And if people watch that show, they're like, oh my God, it's pretty cool. So.
Yeah, Nora, I will say personally one of my favorites, just because she's fun, kind of goofy. For the fans like myself, it's been nice to kind of see a bit more of a turn in the exploration of Nora's character these last couple volumes.
Yeah.
What was that like for you, getting to kind of see more of this character other than just kind of the silly powerhouse?
I like that term, silly powerhouse. That's exactly what she is. She's like a child with a lightning bolt.
Right.
Yeah. I've loved it so much. I knew a little bit about Nora's background when Monty was around, and we talked about it. So I kind of knew how Nora and Ren met, and but I only know that much. And it's been really great to work in the booth, and a great challenge as well, because I'm so high pitched and energized, and we have to go into these somber moments or in these, very or in these quiet moments with one another, and how to play with that nuance has been really, really challenging, but also at the same time, it's just been really cool to do. And to see what comes out of me too for her. So
very cool. Yeah, no, I've really enjoyed seeing the character's progression. So you are known for a couple of other Rooster Teeth projects, one of which that I didn't even realize. You were CT in Red vs. Blue. You were Agent Connecticut, right?
Yeah, that was my first job with Rooster Teeth. Back in 2011, they just did an open casting call. And it was the prequel, so it was, season 9, and that was the character. They had a lot written for Connecticut, and I just connected with her really well. And I had never done voice acting before. I'm an actor from theater, but I do know how to use my voice as a machine, and use I don't know. I was actually kind of shocked I booked it, to be quite honest, just because I lacked the technique of voice acting. But I think I was able to tap into the emotions, and I was there to be with her in those moments because she was such a vulnerable character. And that worked out for me at that time. And I was so excited to get on it. To be quite honest, I didn't really know what Red versus Blue was. And it's horrible. I was a horrible actor. I didn't even look it up. I just thought everything was live action. I thought everything, because they were auditioning kind of for the RT shorts, and just kind of I think getting to know the local actors in Austin. And I went in thinking everything was a live action. So I was like, oh my God, are these guys really going to shoot this? And no, it's animation. And that's when I go in there, because for the first round of auditions, you didn't go into a booth. You just sat in front of them and in front of a camera. You got Bernie and Matt and Joel was there. And
okay.
And so I thought this was I thought it was a live action. I thought CT, Carolina, all of those characters were going to be it was going to be a big web series. And I was just blown away. And then I realized, oh my God, it's even better. It's animation. So it's actually going to be better, and it's going to be even cooler to watch. And when I went home that day, my husband, he was about to deploy to Afghanistan. So he was in the active duty army, and at the time, And he said, "How did the audition go?" And I was like, "It went really great. It was like at a real studio." And like, it was like I don't know, these guys seem to be like really with it. And he's like, "Well, did you look them up?" I said, "No." And he was like, "Well, what did you audition for?" I was like, "These guys from Rooster Teeth, like the show, like Red versus Blue." I don't know. It sounded like a bunch of agents and stuff. And he was just like, "You're kidding me, right?" And so it was just so funny because like he knew what they were. His soldiers knew who they were. And like, so it was really cool to work on that show. That was my first show with them. And so many people I knew like growing up and friends in college, like watched that show. So it was really awesome to be like, to get on it. I never thought I would, cause I didn't know what it was to begin with. So yeah, Connecticut, she only, you know, I miss her. So it's been a while.
For me, the freelancer portion of the show was one of my favorites. And it's interesting that you had mentioned that, you know, you found out it was voice acting and you're expecting this kind of agent thing. So was there that moment of relief of like, oh, I don't have to do 8 months of physical training like a big Hollywood movie set, because all the action is just a bunch of ones and zeros someone's programming. So I get to look like a badass, but can like be in sweatpants.
Yes, no, exactly. And that was the doors were open. I didn't realize how amazing voice acting really is. Like I never trained. We didn't learn it in school. And so the doors were open and I was just like, wow, this is like a whole new ball game. This is awesome. Like you get to be all these different characters and look the way that you do. And it doesn't matter what you look like, which is so liberating because, you know, when you're an actor, you get pigeonholed as soon as your mouth and the way you look, like people have you in a box and they want to keep you in that box. And it gets frustrating for you because you want to explore more and that's not really the option. So in voice acting, like you really get to play so many facets of yourself, which is really cool.
So I have to ask you, you mentioned it briefly there. You said you've done stage acting as well as some live action and voice acting. So out of acting for camera versus acting for stage versus voice acting, which would you say is kind of your favorite, or which one has some, I guess, more prominent positives to it for you?
Oh, I don't know, because they all have, they're all so different. And I love them all. I really do. There are things that I can say, like things that I may not particularly be too fond of. Like I'm not as fond of, like with theater, you get to live with a character for a really, really long time, which is amazing. But at the same time, the spontaneity can be lost over weeks of rehearsal and like really long runs. And but a live audience, like there's nothing better than that. So you have that aspect. And then when you do film acting, it's so intimate and it's really just between you and this other person. And there just happens to be a camera there, but you have to also think technically there's a camera there and you can't let that tap into what you are tapping into internally as that character. So it's a different challenge and everything is so detailed and so minute. You have to think about that with your movements. You have to think of continuity when you're actually physically moving in the frame. And it's, I feel like you have to be more in your head, but you can't be in your head. It's, so that's a really cool aspect too. It's I think film acting is a little bit more of a challenge. And then with voice acting, you have to really just concentrate on just one thing. And it doesn't matter how you look while you do it, but I mean, you have to have true endurance, like in theater. You have to have really great endurance, especially if you're having like a long session, or you're playing multiple characters. And like I play the Flower Scouts in Camp that Rooster show, and that's hard. Like I'll do a whole session for all three of them, and I have to make sure I'm hitting the right levels because they all have like, they're the same but different. You know what I mean?
Right.
My sister actually called me the other day. she works for the Boy Scouts, and we just got to talking about like how I'm on that show, and it's so funny and it's so filthy, and she works with these children and these wonderful kids, and I just made a joke about it, and so she was showing a friend that I was, one of the episodes of mine from that show, and then she called me quickly, and she was like, "Wait, which one are you? I can't remember which one you play." And I was like, "I play all of them," and she's like, "Okay, I wanted to say that, but I didn't want to sound dumb, and I thought it was you." So, but to go off that tangent, but voice acting, I don't know, it's a challenge just because I've never been actually trained in it. It's just now I've just learned techniques, and I've done reading about it, my own research, and I've learned my voice as a certain tool as well. And I know what my limits are and what I can and cannot do in the booth. And so, yeah, like I love them all, but at the same, I don't know. I almost I don't want to choose. It's like, I don't want to choose a kid. But it's like,
it's that kill your darlings question.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I'm going to say theater acting. I think it's probably my favorite because it's the whole instrument that you have to think about, and it's the whole character, and you have to really embody that on stage, and you have to project that to the back of the room, but also let them feel if it's a moment that truly needs to be between just you and that other character on stage, but also the person in the back row has to hear it. It's, I don't know. And there's nothing like a live audience. They're really,
right.
It's pretty cool.
And I mean, it's all one take.
Yeah, exactly. I know. If you mess up, you mess up. Like, I've never made like I take that back. I've made one huge hiccup on stage one time, but I stayed in, I know I did it in my head, and I was able to still like help myself in it while I stayed in character and never broke. But I know what I did, and I know it threw off the other actors for just like that split second. But then once we got back on that train, we were okay. So like we just had to hold our breath for just like a split second and then recalibrate, and then we were good to go.
So not to downshift there, but I do have one question that it's become almost a little bit of a running joke with the last few interviews. Of course, we talked with Shannon and Jen Brown and Aaron Dismuke doing interviews, as you guys are all coming to El Paso Comic-Con this April, correct?
Yes, exactly. I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I'm so stoked because I very much look forward to actually getting to meet you all in person. But I did have one question. So I've tied each of them into a character from a very specific sci-fi franchise, being Star Wars. Okay. We have Aaron, who's a bit more like the Luke Skywalker. He's this kind of, young, wet behind the ears hero. You have Oz, who is kind of more your Obi-Wan or Yoda, who's kind of generally in the background. You also have
giving the wisdom and
right. You had Pyrrha, who's also kind of a surrogate Obi-Wan-esque kind of character, guiding Jean through memory or contact and things. And it dawned on me the other day, I was thinking, what kind of character would Nora tie into? And she's the rapscallion. She's the one who has a couple little zingers, and you're really pulling for her to get the girl, or in this case, the boy. So what's it like being the Han Solo of RWBY?
Oh my God, I love that so much. And that's so true. Oh my God, with the zingers. Yes. And with like also just like the plain badassery as well. You know what I mean? Like, he can do no wrong. First off, he can do no wrong in my mind. It's like, I remember my parents watching the Star Wars when I was a kid on the weekends, and I always just thought he was so handsome. And I think, well, first off, that totally makes sense, and I love it. And Nora loves it as well. And I like that. I don't know. I see that completely, just because I don't know. I think she's always got the right attitude in every scenario. And she always comes out on top. And yeah, I totally get it. I was so afraid of where you were going, to be quite honestly. Like I was just because of like her attitude, but like everyone hated him, but he had a lot of a lot of energy, and he was like way too much. Was like, from one of those, like, not, in my opinion, I wasn't a huge fan of the prequels. So I was Jar Jar Binks. I was so afraid like we were gonna go like that route, and I was like, no. He likes us. Like that's not gonna happen.
No, don't tell Miles, but Jean is the Jar Jar.
Oh,
at least early Jean.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes. It's super early. I love him now. Like that character. Oh my God. He's really traveled. I love where Jean has gone.
Jean grows on you.
Yes, he completely, like, I absolutely adore his character now. Like at the beginning, I was just like, all right, let's suck it up. Let's keep going. But after everything that happened with Kira, and I mean, even after that though, when he was in his mourning, but like through his mourning, he grew, which was just really awesome to see. And I don't know, even with Miles's voice acting, something has like shifted. I think it all shifted when, time passed and we all got like a little bit older, our characters did. And I just really like where Miles has taken him. And it's been, and I love it when he gets to be in the booth with me as well. And we're doing, Nora and Jean, scenes. It's really, really wonderful because like he just gets there right there in the moment and you can really feel it with him as you're recording. So it's such a treat to be able to do that.
Now I have to ask, tying back to kind of that Star Wars question there, if you could be in any franchise, either current or coming soon or already past, and you don't have to say Star Wars, but any franchise, movie, television, theater, anything at all, you could be part of any series, franchise, what have you, what would it be?
Oh, that's a really good question. Oh, man. I should have thought of this one. I should have, because there's just a lot. I will say I used to really want to be in The Walking Dead a long time ago, like a couple of seasons. I thought I really want to be a part of that world. I don't know, because there's something about fantasy, and there's something about sci-fi that has always intrigued me. Though I never grew up really watching it, to be quite honest. Like I have a ton of friends who watched Firefly and all those really great shows and Star Trek, and I never watched them growing up. I don't know why. Star Wars was the biggest thing, and Indiana Jones was really big in our family too. I guess maybe
very nice.
Harrison Ford. I think Harrison Ford was maybe just a big thing in our family.
There you go. It was just Harrison Ford.
It was just Harrison Ford. But I don't know. I feel like maybe it's something that hasn't come yet, to be quite honest. But anything that involves in a world like a graphic novel of some sort. I'm trying to think of something though that like really stands out. We started watching again the Twilight Zone. We always do every New Year, and there's something about there's just something about about the Twilight Zone that is so classic, and it stays. I mean, the themes are there, no matter how cheesy some of the things really are. Like, of course, some of them didn't translate into like our time, but some of them really did, and they can still like affect you now, even though this was a show made so long ago. I love the Twilight Zone, and Jordan Peele's remaking it. So I'm not sure if it's a remake or if he's like adding onto it. I'm not really sure. But I love the Twilight Zone, and my husband introduced that to me. Like I didn't grow up watching it. It was like our first year we've been together, and he was like, I always watch the marathon every New Year. I've done it, since I was a kid, and now we're up. Then we had our 5-year-old do it this past year, so it was really special. And
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I think something like that, because it's timeless and people are still affected to it to this day. Something like that can be like that can be ongoing. Yeah, I think so. Because I think we have it kind of a little bit in Black Mirror. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time, you can't watch like 3 Black Mirrors in a row. You can watch the whole day of Twilight Zone, but you can't do that.
You can't even watch Black Mirror with the lights off.
Oh God, it's pretty rough at times. So
I just have 2 more quick questions. Are there any projects you have coming up? Anything that you're able to talk about that you'd like to plug?
Well, I finished my short film, Wolves Inside. We're submitting it to festivals right now. One festival that we really want to focus on later on is Fantastic Fest. So I have that. I took a hiatus because I had another baby.
Mm-hmm.
And
congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. He turned 5 months today. So I've taken a little bit of a break for a while, but I'm going to be writing a feature film this year with a friend that I'm really excited about, and it's a sci-fi, and I never thought I'd be writing that, but it's I'm really looking forward to where it's going to go. And nothing like on the horizon that I've booked something and then it hasn't been out yet. Once you get pregnant, work kind of stops and
right.
don't look the same anymore. So yeah, it stinks. Like once you start showing, like auditions do not happen anymore. So I've been
luckily you'll always have Nora there, right?
Yes, exactly. I do. Like, oh my God, if I don't have her, I'll be like pissed. I've got my regular Rooster Teeth shows, which are really exciting, and I love them all. And I hope like those can always continue. But yeah, I think that's really it. I'm just going to be working more on my own stuff, to be quite honest, just because with the 2 kids, it's kind of how it's going right now, with the other one so little. And I'm going to start traveling for conventions, which I'm really excited about. I've only been to 2, and they were, one was in Spain and one was in Oregon, and they were like smaller cons, but it was really intimate, and I got to meet so many people, and it was so cool to go to Spain and meet people from Europe that really loved RWBY. And so that was really awesome. So I'm focusing a little bit on going out to conventions and making my own stuff. I've got a few other people who want to collaborate on a couple of short films. And so we'll see what happens. So that's kind of it. Wolves Inside will be online after we see where it goes with festivals. And I'm also trying to make it into a limited series. So that's also kind of like its own thing as well.
And finally, before we let you go here, Sam, this is the most important question. This is where we turn that thermostat all the way up to 11.
Okay.
We take this question with the utmost seriousness. We've asked every member of this that has been on this show so far, and we need the very serious answer to find out what side of the fence you are on, cake or pie.
Oh, okay. This is hard right now because I never ate pie growing up. I never did. I thought it was gross, yucky. This past pregnancy, all I wanted was pie. That's all I wanted. I didn't want cake. I didn't want cheesecake. I wanted pie. I don't know what the hell happened to me, but like I wanted to have nothing but pie. And so I'm going to say pie. It's who I am now.
Oh, well, there you go. That completes the collection. So far, we have Shannon, Aaron, Jen, and now you, Sam, are all team pie. So if you are a fan of RWBY, yep. If you are a fan of RWBY, you might want to bring some pies with you to El Paso Comic-Con this April.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny. I haven't listened to their interviews, so like I did not know. That's amazing.
Yeah, so far we are 4 for 4 on Team Pie with RWBY. So, well,
oh my God.
Sam, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, see, now I know. I'm glad the interview fell right when it did, so we were able to get you on the right team. Well, thank you. This has been a real treat. I got to say, it's been a personal milestone of mine because Nora is absolutely my favorite character. So thank you so much for doing this interview.
Oh, yeah. No, this is awesome. Thank you so much.
Awesome. And we'll see you in April.
Yes, we will. I'm looking for, I think if I don't have anything coming up soon, it will be my first con of the year. So I'm really excited for it. And I love
Awesome.
West Texas. It's like, I love going out there. I love even going to El Paso. Like, I love that area. So it's going to be a good time.
Well, very cool. Hopefully we can start you off on a high note there.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. You have a good night.
You too. Bye.
If you enjoyed this interview, please consider subscribing. Your subscription makes it easier for us to get content such as this. And best of all, it's free.
Get nerdy with me. Tell me what game that you get on. Is it card or read? What kind of class do you play, girl? In an RPG.